it going, guys? This is Trey here for a interview, video conversation with. Can you introduce yourself?
Manjai Petit Badji, le fondateur de Jardin de l'Espoir et les Fermes de l'Espoir.
All right, and we're just gonna go around the table, go around the plant, and everybody just introduce themselves. So, my name is Trey Lewis. I am 24 years old, from Texas, United States of America, and a graduate student at the University of Texas at Austin, the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian Noboa. I'm 27 years old. I'm a first year MGPS student at the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs, and I'm originally from Ecuador, but I'm here doing my internship in Dakar, Senegal.
Hi everyone, my name is Christopher Wilkins. I am 39 years old from the United States, currently a student with my fellow classmates at the University of Texas, the LBJ School of Public Affairs. I currently live in Dakar, working at a nonprofit doing development work, and I'm really excited to be here.
Hi everybody, mon nom c'est Manjai Petit Badji, je suis le coordonnateur de Parole Aux Jeunes et également le coordonnateur du programme Jardin de l'Espoir et Ferme de l'Espoir également, et nous sommes sur le Jardin de l'Espoir, sur la terrasse ici à Kermassar, à Dakar, au Sénégal.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Manjai Badji, je suis avec mon père sur le Jardin de l'Espoir.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Jenna Badji.
Fille à sa papa.
Fille à sa papa.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Sidi Sandé. Je suis le fan de Manjai. Je suis le fan de l'Espoir.
So first, just want to thank you just for having us out here. So just tell us a little bit about your organization, what you guys do, and just tell us about your campaign, about the impact that you want to make in agriculture. Why is agriculture important to you? Why create a garden like this? Why pursue agriculture? Yeah, just your thoughts and ideas.
Alors, je vais le faire en français.
Either one,
Yes.
English or French.
I think that in French it will be very easy for me. Alors, nous avons créé une campagne qui s'appelle Jardin de l'Espoir, Ferme de l'Espoir au départ, pour les fermes. Mais après, mes enfants voulaient tout le temps me suivre dans les fermes et c'était pas tout le temps possible. Alors, nous avons créé ce jardin également pour permettre également aux jeunes, aux enfants, aux adolescents d'avoir toutes les plantes autour d'eux, de les connaître en premier, de connaître l'utilité des plantes, l'utilité d'avoir des plantes dans les jardins. Mais nous avons fait une option de faire une agriculture 100% organique, sans engrais chimiques. Donc, ça aussi, c'est l'essence de ces... Mais c'est aussi montrer aux gens que des espaces comme ça, que nous avons tout le temps dans les maisons, que c'est des espaces que nous pouvons utiliser pour faire des jardins. Parce que tout le temps, si les gens n'ont pas de ferme, ils peuvent avoir au moins des jardins où ils peuvent cultiver des légumes pour la maison ou même pour vendre. Et nous, on fait même plus. On a un jardin, on fait de l'élevage, on fait du jardinage, on fait du micro-jardinage et on apprend aux jeunes également comment utiliser l'engrais biologique dans les fermes.
Something that we can learn from Senegal, from this experience that we're having here, is that it is necessary to have urban agriculture in big cities like Dakar, and I think that big cities in the U.S. can also benefit from the same teachings that we are seeing here. There's a lot of food insecurity in big cities, and if people can learn how to grow in their terrace, in their patios, that could improve food security in many big cities of the U.S.
So definitely, like in bigger cities, you do have, areas like this. There are people who are pursuing agriculture with what little that they have. But I think just as you stated, more people should pursue a career in agriculture and using these innovations like this to continue to reduce food insecurity. Do you think this type of effort should be expanded, like in a whole bunch of different places back there?
Ok, donc je voudrais récapituler. Il a dit une chose très intéressante. Parce que il a dit que il a noté que aux États-Unis, sont les immigrés, les gens qui viennent des autres pays, sont les personnes qui ont des plans d'agriculture
Qui s'investissent dans l'agriculture.
Mais les Américains natifs, on peut dire, ont oublié tout ça. Il manque de connexion avec la nature, avec la terre et avec les plants médicinaux.
Absolument.
Et ça, c'est ce que je voudrais parler parce que ici, on a toujours des fruits, des légumes, des espèces, mais aussi, il ne faut pas oublier la fonction médicinale des plantes.
Absolument.
Et ça, c'est une chose très importante que les gens doivent rappeler, doivent utiliser dans sa vie. Parce qu'aux États-Unis, et dans, je pense, beaucoup de pays, ils sont, comment on peut dire, ils besoin ou ils sont, ils utilisent beaucoup de médicaments.
De médicaments
Oui,
chimiques.
Chimiques,
Ouais.
exactement. Donc, il faudrait faire une investigation pour les plans
Médicinal. En tout cas, moi, je pense que le point le plus important dans ce que nous sommes en train de faire, c'est pour inspirer surtout les jeunes. Vous voyez, c'est les enfants qui sont dans les quartiers. Si aujourd'hui, on n'a pas un environnement comme ça, ils ne vont jamais connaître les plantes. Tout comme ce qui se passe aux États-Unis. Si, par exemple, l'Américain lambda, lui, se fout royalement des plantes, il ne calcule même pas. Si nous, on fait ça, nous allons carrément oublier les plantes. Alors, aujourd'hui, quand les enfants sont dans cet environnement-là, même les grandes personnes, ils comprennent l'importance d'avoir des plantes dans un écosystème, dans un environnement. Qu'est-ce que ça joue? Tout à l'heure, Diabou, l'étudiante, a dit, oui, on a de l'air pur. Ici, par exemple, quand vous êtes sur cette plante, vous n'avez pas de moustiques. Parce que on joue sur les plantes qui sachent répulsives des moustiques. Il y a de l'air pur. Ils peuvent consommer, comme Seydou a dit tout à l'heure. C'est-à-dire, tu peux venir couper, manger. Il y a la sécurité alimentaire. Mais également, tu manges quelque chose de sain, de bio. C'est-à-dire, tu vas pas tomber malade. You will never have a grave disease. Tu vas pas avoir. Donc, il y a ça aussi. C'est-à-dire, on donne à manger, mais également, on pense à la santé de la population globalement. Et ça, je pense que c'est très important. Si aujourd'hui, il y a trop de produits toxiques sur le marché, ou il y a trop de légumes qui arrivent avec des produits, des engrais chimiques, c'est parce que on n'est pas en train de faire un travail essentiel pour permettre aux gens de faire une agriculture 100% naturelle, qu'on appelle bio. Et nous, c'est ce que nous sommes en train de faire. Et au-delà de ça, il y a également la formation. Parce qu'il faut former les jeunes, il faut former les adolescents pour qu'ils comprennent l'importance de préserver la nature, d'avoir toutes ces plantes médicinales et également d'avoir tout le temps des plantes à la maison.
Something that we're not noticing or that we might not talk about that much is the medicinal purpose of a lot of these plants. And Baji here was saying that he agrees that it is very important that we keep alive the knowledge of our ancestors about the plants and how they can serve us, how they can be used for medicinal purposes. And Baji also mentioned that it's very important in the sense that it makes us more aware of the importance of the environment, of nature, and the power of nature, and how it can apport to our overall well-being.
Bon, mon appréciation, c'est que ça te donne de l'environnement, un environnement sain. Mais parce qu'à Dakar, nous constatons il y a beaucoup de pollution. Donc, avoir un jardin dans ta maison, ça te permet de pouvoir respirer les plantes. Parce que les plantes donnent une oxygène très favorable. Comme tu pars en Casamance, tu dis là-bas, l'air est plus frais qu'ici. Ouais. Parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'arbres qui sont entourés. Donc, tu peux amener par entre guillemets la Casamance ici. Ça veut dire tu peux amener les arbres ici pour que tu puisses avoir une bonne oxygène, une bonne condition de vie. Pour surtout les enfants parce qu'ils sont plus fragiles vis-à-vis à l'écosystème que nous. On peut aussi éviter qu'aux enfants. Il y a beaucoup de maladies comme l'asthme et aussi d'autres choses. Et cela, mettre du jardin dans votre maison, ça réduit beaucoup de maladies aussi.
So he pointed out something very important, and that is that by having a farm or by having plants inside of your house, it can improve your environment. Dakar is a very polluted city. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of pollution in general. And by having plants inside of your environment, it's like bringing, she mentioned Casamance, a city where there's a lot more of nature, a lot more trees, so we can bring like a piece of that nature into our own homes by doing projects such as this.
That is so good. So I'm a huge advocate for medicinal plants. So back at home, shout out to you, Mom. Growing up, I actually have sickle cell. Growing up with sickle cell, going through like different type of pain crises or getting sick, my mother, my grandma, they would just make me different type of teas and I would feel better. Or even just like the different type of foods that we would eat and what she would prepare. My mom's been trying to go, like, she's been eating a lot healthier, like vegan, recipes and, even like, showing us like how to prepare these things, how to eat healthier and even use like medicinal herbs and teas. Even we've been starting to use like different medicinal herbs like to make hairspray, right? Cause my mom has dreadlocks, I have dreadlocks. So like using different stuff for hair. It's like, wow. It's the fact that you're able to really grow these own resources yourself. By 2050, there's a statistic, I learned about this in undergrad, that by 2050, we're supposed to have 10 billion people on Earth.
Yeah.
And currently we don't have enough food or resources to take care of all those people. So I believe like implementing practices like this, like, growing fruits and vegetables at home, growing your medicinal plants, even what you have here, with the livestock and the chickens, it's of course not a lot of space, but you're able to do so much. It's like, it's so much abundance in the little bit that you've been able to do. And just your organization, you guys just pushing the campaign of the importance of agriculture. We spoke the other day. Really what you said really stuck with me because you said it doesn't take a lot of money to change the world, right? It doesn't take a lot of resources. And that also doesn't take that much even just to provide for yourself. I really resonated with the fact that you said, even just, utilizing like the resources that we have in the plants and the herbs, we're also connecting with our ancestors and the methods that we used in the past. And I think we need to continue just to connect in that way, being able to implement this in our households and our families and for generations to come. I actually got into agriculture because of my mother and my grandpa. So shout out to you, Papa. My grandfather worked in agriculture and growing up, he would always tell us the importance, like with agriculture, you always have a job. With agriculture, you always have food on your plate. You always have food on the table and you're able to provide. So yeah, like methods like this are important. I believe every backyard in America should have some sort of garden or raised bed or any type of method to grow your own food and resources. Cause just like you said, like it doesn't take much to change the world.
Yeah.
So something that he pointed out also is that, by having your own plants and your own fruits and vegetables that you grow, you won't, add any type of dangerous fertilizers or toxic chemicals of that nature. Everything that you grow yourself is going to be organic, 100%, and you won't have the need to go outside anywhere else to buy things that you don't know the procedence from. So here you know exactly where it's coming from and how it's grown, and it also apports a great deal of oxygen to your home, and it's just overall healthier.
I really do love that you guys implement like just more organic fertilizers. I know more like industrial agriculture in the US tend to not use organic fertilizers, but more like rural areas tend to do more. And you can also really taste the difference. So Tuesday when I was able to come out here for my first tour, you offered me just a bite of the tomatoes that you grew out there in the garden, and you guys, it was a really good tomato. I was like, I didn't expect it to taste. I've had so many tomatoes, obviously, but it was really good. So it's like you can also with the methods of organic farming and fertilizers, like you can also taste the difference, and it just has more healthier effects just on you. So why do you think more people should pursue even small scale agriculture back at home?
There's a million different directions I could go with that, but I do want to testify to the tomato fact. I had an internship. There's a program in the United States called AmeriCorps. It's like Peace Corps, but for the United States. I worked in New York City in urban agriculture, and I can testify to the fact that urban agriculture, the practice of it, especially in a large city like New York, does change lives. And I grew up in the country in a very rural area, similar to a lot of places in Senegal. but I never ate organic food whatsoever. It was always cheap food from the grocery store that was really inexpensive. I grew up pretty poor. And the first time I had an organic tomato, like you said, it was life changing.
Yeah.
It was like actually its flavor. Tomatoes I ate had no flavor. And it was just like it fulfilled something to me I didn't know I needed, like vitamins essentially. Like it actually had flavor and nutrition.
There wasn't no McDonald's
No
tomato.
McDonald's tomatoes, no fast food tomatoes. So I can testify that, organic good, a good fresh produce grown in site really does change everything. And once you have it, you can't go back to the other stuff. In the United States, at least where I'm from, I can only speak to my culture.
Okay.
There's a disconnect between the land and the culture of the people because everything is so convenient. Fast food is everywhere. You can go to the grocery store and pick up your food. There's no idea of like, we have literally disconnected ourselves from the land for the sake of convenience. And I think people are realizing over the last 10 to 20 years how much that has really affected. Maybe because I'm trying to say is like evolutionary wise, like growing up for thousands of years, we were intimately connected to the land. And that can really, really affect you psychologically, emotionally, creatively. It can break up communities, which is why you have a lot of immigrants coming in from all over the world to the United States. And the first thing they do is find sources of food that is comforting to them. They start their own gardens like this. I was going to say when I was working in New York, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Dominicans, Senegalese. I've been a lot of these people in New York. All grew. First thing they did was start their own garden because they needed connection to the food of their people and their land. And my people did not have that until recently. Even though I grew up in a place with a lot of land, it wasn't there. So to answer your question, you need to be able to have that connection to the local because it builds community. It connects you to who you are as a culture and a people, but it's also just incredibly healthy. And sometimes things need to be a little bit inconvenient in order to make yourself feel a little bit more connected.
Yeah. It's a community aspect, right?
Yeah.
So
we don't have a big sense of community. Hopefully our culture is changing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you grew up in Exeter and both, so you probably have different perspectives. Me and Trey grew up in a very similar area. So yeah, this idea of community, even in small towns, people are not connected like they used to even like 30 years ago. So hopefully things are changing with that.
Mm-hmm. One more thing I do want to talk about, just for like shared thoughts, shared ideas. So, for you guys, what are some things that you've seen or heard about implemented in America and the United States with either agriculture or anything that you would like to implement here? And for my colleagues, what is something that you have seen here in Senegal that you wish we would implement back in the U.S.?
Moi, apparemment, ce que j'ai vu, en Amérique, vous utilisez des machines dans les cultures. Ici, c'est nous qui allons cultiver. Donc, on a plus de familiariser. Les plantes sont des êtres vivants qui respirent. Donc, ils ont besoin de contact avec des humains pour pouvoir plus de donner de rendement que vous voulez. Les machines ne peuvent pas donner plus que ça, produire ça. Même les machines sont plus efficaces que les êtres humains. Mais il faut être tout le temps là-bas parce que tu disais que les Africains qui immigrent sont plus sur les champs que vous-même. Parce que nous, en grandissant, on nous éduque à respecter nos terres. Le terre, c'est comment on dit, c'est crucial dans notre vie. Même en Casamance, tu vois les hommes, avant de devenir homme, tu dois cultiver et partir dans la brousse. C'est ça pour dire tu es homme. Tu dois partir dans la brousse, dans la terre des hommes. On dit la Casamance, c'est la terre des hommes. Donc vous devez vous familiariser avec la terre, avec les plantes, parce que ce sont des êtres vivants, même s'ils ne bougent pas, mais ils respirent comme vous. Ils vous apportent quelque chose et nous aussi, on les apporte quelque chose. On doit se familiariser avec eux pour avoir des rendements.
What she said is super interesting. She said that basically more of a critique towards the U.S. system that we have. She mentioned how she's noticed that in the U.S. we have a great reliance on machines for agriculture, and that is one of the root causes of why we feel this disconnection with nature and this disconnection with the soil. And she mentioned that in Senegal, if you want to become a man, you must go to the land and work on the land, and that's how you become a man. Wow. And she said that is why in Senegal we have such a great connection with the land, is because we still have people working on it. And it also makes it a more organic process, a more healthy process, and maybe she said that there's something there that we could learn.
That is so good. That is I absolutely, man, that is so good.
Et moi, j'aimerais, aujourd'hui, c'est que moi, je veux, à travers cette campagne, Garden of Hope et les Fermes de l'Espoir, c'est un pont entre les États-Unis et le Sénégal. Un pont qu'on va appeler peut-être le plus grand voyage de l'agriculture entre US et le Sénégal. Et comme ça, aujourd'hui, eux, ils peuvent aller aux États-Unis, aller apprendre ce qu'ils savent, ce qu'ils connaissent déjà, et faire venir également d'autres jeunes Américains comme vous qui vont venir également être avec nous dans nos fermes ici au Sénégal. Et cet échange permettra aujourd'hui de voir tout ce qu'il y a de moderne et de l'appliquer, tout ce qu'il y a à laisser de traditionnel également et de l'appliquer, et comment également inciter les jeunes Américains aujourd'hui au retour vers l'agriculture. Parce que pour moi, c'est très important. Aujourd'hui, si les autres qui viennent d'ailleurs viennent pour changer la donne, je pense que le premier, c'est celui qui est dans le pays, qui doit également s'impliquer davantage pour changer la donne. Parce que la nourriture est au cœur de tout ce que nous sommes en train de faire. Et l'agriculture, je pense que c'est le développement global. Il y a l'employabilité des jeunes. Il y a également, ça nous permettra aujourd'hui, les jeunes ne vont pas prendre les pirogues pour aller en Espagne ou ailleurs. Et ça va permettre aux jeunes de redonner plus d'espoir avec l'agriculture. Moi, je pense qu'aujourd'hui, j'ai envie de voir mes enfants, ces étudiants aux États-Unis. Et tout comme j'ai envie de voir également des jeunes Américains. D'ailleurs, vous êtes là. Également, nous tous dans les champs, et voir quelle est la solution qu'on peut trouver pour le monde globalement.
So what he said is that he hopes that this, the Garden of Hope, will become a sort of a point, a bridge between Senegal and the U.S., where the U.S. students can come to Senegal and learn about the traditional ways of agriculture, but at the same time, Senegalese can go to the U.S. and learn about the more modern ways of agriculture, and there can be a trade of knowledge there. And he also said that he hopes that if people start implementing what we have seen here, there will be less Senegalese people wanting to make the voyage to Europe or to the US, because it will not only give them a source of employment, but it will also give them a food security.
Only being exposed to American agriculture systems, right? Like, but now gaining like whole new perspectives. Like, it's things I was taught, like agricultural practices that I was taught here in Senegal, I never thought would ever be possible in the US, right? Or, you know, I'm learning so much, you know. And I was talking to my father, and he was saying, like, you know, you went to the motherland, right? And now you're coming back, you know, with like the tools like you need to continue to grow communities. But I absolutely do agree, right? Like, more people from America should either come here for more internships or study abroad, those who are focused in agriculture, so that way their perspectives can be changed and expanded. And even saying like Senegalese students like coming to the US so they can continue just to see, yes, it's a lot of machinery, as you said earlier, in America, a lot of industrialized agriculture, and that's a lot that's produced from that. You're able to harvest a lot just from the type of machinery that we use in America, but it's like you said, it does disconnect you from the land. It disconnect like your mind, your heart, and your soul from what's really like in our DNA, right? And it's in our history to do, right? So that's so good. We got to bring some more students. That's what
I think I just learned a lot from your answer. Honestly, that was an amazing answer. So great answer. From my perspective, I think a lot of the industrial farming that is done, the big scale, what we call monoculture, where they grow wheat or corn or soybeans or sugar or whatever. Oftentimes, if you talk to an individual farmer in the United States, is this the ideal job? Is this what you want to do when you became a farmer, when you inherited the land, that you grow this one crop, you sold it to the government for whatever reason? But every single farmer, I guarantee you, maybe not every single, but a lot of them would say, this is not what I want to do. They're dependent on it for a number of reasons. And if they were given a choice between the nostalgic farms that we have in the United States that I grew up with, like we see in movies from 100 years ago or whatever, They would rather have that. They'd rather have chickens and goats, and grow tons of vegetables and sell it to their communities. And so I think there's a hunger and a desire to kind of transition away from that. We just don't know how. So what we can learn and what I've been really drawn to is the community aspect behind how you all depend upon each other for agriculture, and how we can hopefully maybe transition farmers away from that monocultural industrial soulless operation, in my view, towards one of community where they can actually grow crops and grow things that they want to serve their local communities. Because I think that's why people become farmers. They want to grow food because they deeply care about their communities, but they also want to earn a living. So hopefully that'll be some kind of shares, like how do we bring the community aspect? How do we learn to become communities again?
Just some very quick thought there that I have. So my organization, it's called CNCR, and it also has within it what they call a college for young people, where they also give workshops and licenses to young people that are interested in agriculture. And here also I see that it's very much youth focused, Parole Aux Jeunes. So I think that is something that we could possibly take back in the US, because I feel that agriculture is seen as something for the older generations, and it's not that cool and not that attractive for the youth. So perhaps that's something that the US could take from Senegal, is the need for an inclusion of young people in agriculture, and also as a form of subsistence and as a form of food security.
There's so much that I want to be able, I'm excited to take back home, right? Just with the knowledge that I've been given, and just continuing to learn really about what you guys are saying, even just about community, right? Like agriculture being a community effort. I really like what you said about agriculture. Like you guys saying how with agriculture, in a way, like even it being like a rite of passage, right? But I think just like we spoke before, using agriculture as the first and essential step in growing communities, but not just growing communities, but growing self-reliant communities. You know, as I said before, as the world is continuing to change, we're needing more self-reliant systems in our communities, right? Because if a system fails, if a system is removed or defunded or whatever, we need to be able to have our own efforts like this to provide for ourselves. It's teaching the youth, right? It's growing our own produce, it's growing our own resources, and here just seeing how self-reliant, you guys are so inspiring, is very motivational. And I'm really just excited to bring that back home. Maybe some collaboration in the future. Absolutely.
Tout ce qu'il y a ici et en bas, c'est-à-dire nous avons un jardin sur la terrasse, nous avons également transformé en bas. Et tout ce que nous avons fait ici, personne ne nous a donné de l'argent pour le faire. Nous l'avons fait en famille. Nous l'avons fait nous-mêmes. Ça n'a pas demandé d'énormes ressources. On n'a pas eu besoin de beaucoup d'argent. Et on voudrait que tout le monde, que toutes les populations comprennent cela. C'est-à-dire, c'est step by step. Avec ce que tu as, tu n'as pas besoin d'avoir des millions pour faire ça. Avec le peu que tu as, tu peux réaliser tout ça. Et nous l'avons fait. Et il y a du recyclage dedans. Quand vous regardez, par exemple, les pots, nous avons utilisé les pots usés. Tout ce que les gens ont jeté, nous avons ramené. Il y a même des pneus. Vous avez vu là-bas, c'est des pneus. Exactement. Donc, nous avons utilisé pour embellir. Donc, nous avons joué. Mais joué pour dire aux gens que, en jouant, on peut travailler. Et aujourd'hui, par exemple, nous avons ça. Par exemple, les œufs de caille. Nous avons également les poules. Nous avons des moutons. Et tout ça, ça sert d'abord à la maison. On mange, nous. Et le trop, on le vend. Aujourd'hui, par exemple, une tablette comme ça, c'est 4 000 francs. Une tablette de chair de caille, 4, c'est 6 000 francs. Et quand on vend, on a de l'argent. Et cet argent également, nous le réinvestissons encore dans la maison. Et toutes les familles peuvent faire pareil. Et ça va, non seulement vous allez avoir la sécurité alimentaire, mais vous allez avoir de l'argent. Vous allez avoir de l'argent et ça va vous permettre de vous développer si vous voulez être riche.
What he said is very important also. He mentioned how easy it is to replicate something of this nature. All of that you see up here on this rooftop and down there in the patio was all made possible by his family. and it isn't something that is that difficult to make. In fact, many of the things that you see here are used with recycled materials. So you'll see, like, for example, recycled plastics, recycled bottles being used for the plants. And in addition to that, as it's been growing, he's been able to produce. So not only for his consumption, but also for other people's consumption. So, for example, the quail eggs that he showed us, other vegetables that he has here, not only can it be used for his own food security, but also to sell to other people.
Right.
And he hopes that other people can also replicate this in their own homes, because it's not something that is super, super difficult. Everybody can achieve it.
Absolutely. You're able to make money off.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're able to provide for others, and like we spoke about the other day, you're able to make it a very lucrative operation, right? Because everybody needs to eat. And then even just the importance of even teaching people the impact and the importance of even just medicinal herbs, right? Of course, like, if you're sick, go to the doctor, right? If you're sick, if you're super sick, yes. But like, if it is like a cold or a cough, or if it is like a sickness, you have the resources to take care of it. So allergies, so this is really amazing, and I thank you just so much for the opportunity.
Et même pour les dreadlocks. Par exemple, pour les dreadlocks, ma mère a des dreadlocks. Elle aussi, elle avait des dreadlocks. Et là, je pense qu'elle a enlevé maintenant. Et elle utilise aloe vera. L'aloe vera pour traiter ses cheveux.
So you heard aloe vera to
Yes.
help with your dreadlocks.
Et quand ils ont mal aux dents, également, ils utilisent l'aloe vera. Et par exemple, quand elles ont des aloe vera, yes. Et quand elles ont les règles douloureuses, il y a les plantes là que je vous ai montrées, là derrière vous, ça, ouais, paracétamol, on l'appelle, quand tu as mal au ventre, quand tu as mal à la tête. Donc, il y a plein de mal. Il y a également l'artémisia, qu'on utilise pour les calculs rénaux, les femmes ou les gens qui ont des problèmes de reins, ils peuvent utiliser ça. Donc, surtout le côté médicinal, ça aussi c'est très important. Parce que si aujourd'hui on doit faire des médicaments à base de produits chimiques, on risque de toujours continuer à être malade. Mais si on fait des médicaments 100% naturels, là je pense que la population va se porter mieux.
Man, that's really all the time that we have. I want to thank you guys. Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
so much.
Thank
Like,
you.
Merci. Thank y'all. Merci,
Merci.
man. Support the campaign for Parole aux Jeunes, and even back in America, like follow online. You have Facebook, LinkedIn,
Facebook,
TikTok,
Twitter, LinkedIn,
Twitter,
yeah,
everything.
TikTok,
So
everything.
exactly. So do you have any last words that you'd like to share?
Moi, ce que j'ai à dire, c'est que nous devons tous impacter. Tous les jeunes, partout dans le monde, ils doivent impacter dans leur communauté. Faut pas attendre que le gouvernement fasse quelque chose pour vous, mais vous, en tant que jeunes, faites quelque chose pour votre nation, pour votre continent, pour l'Afrique, pour le monde. Impactez les jeunes. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah. Oh, just his closing words were that we should all try to make an impact in our communities, in our countries, and we shouldn't just lie around waiting for the government to do something. We need to take matters in our own hands to make the change.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. You guys.
Merci.
Good job, guys. That was amazing. Real quick. Let me keep.
Okay,
make sure they're
check,
recording.
double check.
This one turned off. I think you probably overheated, but I'm good now. We still that's what's still going. That's all I know.
It is not a Chinese phone?
Huh?
It
No,
is
it's
not a
an
Chinese
iPhone.
phone.
No, might as well be a